about a week ago, student Mahmoud Khalil was arrested by ICE for essentially what they claimed was supporting terrorism and backing anti-Semitic views and leading the protests last year at Columbia University in New York, which ultimately were very controversial, and because of much suspicion around him, they basically took him in, and he is currently in custody. And what they're trying to do is deport him. Now, this has sparked a lot of wildfire because of basically everything surrounding this. So, just for context, the Columbia protests were pro-Palestine. He was a leader of those protests, of those student activists. Like, he was one of them, and he he played a huge role in it. Now, here's the thing about the Columbia University protests in particular, even though this was nationwide. Some of the stuff that happened got a little bit, it kind of, it was very extreme. I mean, I wouldn't exaggerate when I say a lot of the protest signs, I literally can't even show them in this video. A lot of them were pretty bordering on anti-Semitic, either knowingly or unknowingly. Some of the things that they said were generally anti-Semitic, and you could take away that a lot of the students were being sympathetic to Hamas. However, here's another factor. He in particular was not charged with any crimes, and many Jewish students in the university, because of the protests, did feel uncomfortable. And that definitely was not a good optics look for anyone, supporting Palestine. However, when it comes to this specifically, I'm sorry, but it really goes kind of beyond the line to just deport someone for this. And a lot of people on mainly on the right are saying that he deserves this because again, he's sympathetic to Hamas, very terroristic, he incited violence. Now, again, you can argue that by being a leader of these protests that he incited whatever. But legally speaking, because again, law, courts, all of these things exist outside of politics. Okay, like the law, the way that it's written and how it's interpreted is supposed to not be based on your political feelings of something. He was not charged with a single crime, and to my knowledge, there's no video of this guy doing, like, saying anything in favor of Hamas. There's just nothing. There's nothing like that. He is generally a pro-Palestine activist, and if I had to make a guess on personally where he stands, look, I don't really agree with how they managed themselves at Columbia University last year. Again, those signs were pretty, if you were a Jewish student in that university, I would not at all blame you for feeling both uncomfortable and like just scared by those protests because it's a little scary. And um again, in my opinion and where I stand on the Israel-Palestine conflict, I think that we are genuinely at a point where a two-state solution is probably the only realistic thing, and even that's like that's not happening anytime soon. But my opinion of that conflict is kind of irrelevant here because the ultimate question is, did this guy break the law and is it warranted to deport him? Now, he was not a citizen. Well, he is not a citizen. He's still here. However, he is a resident and he has a green card. I don't entirely know specifically because every article I keep reading about this and everything that I've heard goes between green card and residency, though if you have a green card, you're here permanently either way. But regardless, the way it stands, if you're a resident citizen, if you are legally allowed in this moment to be in the United States, you are protected by the First Amendment. That's the way that this is. You are allowed to have whatever opinions you want in this country. That is the First Amendment. I am a First Amendment absolutist at heart. Nobody should be facing deportation because they have opinions. Even if deep down he supported, whatever, you still should be allowed to remain in this country if you are legally here, and he was legally here. And now, again, if he was charged with a crime or whatnot, if he actually did something violent and you can prove it and he was charged with it, okay. But the fact is, he wasn't. He was just someone protesting. He was leading a protest group that tended to get really rowdy and was very, beyond the pale regarding public opinion. They really weren't winning anyone over with this. But again, it doesn't matter who you're winning over. You are allowed to protest so long as you are not infringing on anyone else's rights. And with him in particular, he was not. And students who um did uh things that legally went too far, they got arrested. And guess what? He was not one of them. He was just someone voicing his opinion. It doesn't matter what his beliefs are. He could believe whatever. Being He could have the worst beliefs you could think of. Like, being an asshole doesn't is not a reason to deport someone. That's not how it works in this country. That's not how it works. We have the First Amendment. That's what makes us greater than so many other countries. I mean, you literally have other countries where you get fined for, like, saying stuff that is kind of beyond the pale. We don't have that because we have the First Amendment. And that is what I love the most about this country. That is what I love the most. And all he was doing was expressing his First Amendment rights. And you don't have to like it. I really do not like a lot of what those activists were doing, and I don't know how much he agreed with it personally because I don't know him, and to my knowledge, no social media of his is leaked, or like no videos of him giving like extreme takes have leaked. So I don't know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter his opinions. It doesn't matter anyone's opinions when it comes to should they be deported. He didn't commit any crimes. He is not affiliated with any groups that are antagonistic to the United States. There is nothing that you can deport him on. And if we deport him, that is definitely a bad precedent. And in my opinion, I mean, it's not like I'm not going to say that this is an unprecedented thing because in World War One, there was a lot of violation. If you spoke out against entering World War One in when that was happening, Woodrow Wilson, I don't know why he's ranked so highly. He was a kind of a douchebag president, but you could get arrested for that. You get fined. You could get punished for not supporting us entering World War One. So it's not the first time it's happened, but it's wrong to do it whenever. It's a violation of the supreme law of the land. And honestly, I mean, I gotta say, it's like it's not an American value to have to want to deport someone. Everyone can speak in this country, and that's the way it should always be. So because of that, Khalil should not be deported. He should not face anything. You can't just legally throw the book at someone because they said something or they have a stance you don't like. I'm sorry. If there's no crime committed, he should not be deported. You can disagree with his political opinions. You can call him an idiot to his face. You can do whatever you want, but you can't deport him. You just can't. There is no legal basis for deporting him. There's none. There's none. If you can find a crime he committed that he was charged of, then you have a case. That's not appeared because there is none that exists. So yeah, that's my take on it. Hope you guys have a great day.